Assalamu alaikum. How are you today?
Wa alaikum salam. I'm really good to be here. I am really happy to be here. But more than that, it's so important that we have platforms like this to be able to share our messages. So asking me that question makes me feel like I realize that I'm in a good space because I'm able to share the message that I do have.
That's amazing. I'm glad we finally got to this, and I'm looking forward to uncovering your story. So let's jump straight into it. If we had to strip the title of motivation, who is Mohamed Cassim behind motivation?
Mohammed Cassim was a shy, introverted, emotional young boy who grew up in this most loving home in a small little town, fourth holiest city in the world called Azadville. I grew up there. It was wonderful, amazing parents. We had the most loving home. Everything seemed right. And I always thought to myself, wow, life is pretty good and life is pretty soft. And I love the way our parents loved us and always made us feel important. My father was very involved in sports. So playing sports from a very young age. And like I said, everything seemed good. We were three of us, an elder sister. I'm the middle child and I have a younger brother as well. And life was going well until, of course, a day before my matric exam when my parents got divorced.
Okay.
And that's when I think motivation was born inside of me. I had no idea then at that point,
Yeah.
but I think that was the seed of the plant of motivation.
I'm sure that turned your whole life upside down.
Completely.
So did you have to then become the person you needed?
Not at that moment. I was too young,
Okay.
17, 18 years old at the time. But I do remember the exact moment when it happened.
Yeah.
And all I did was fall into sajda and ask Allah for help.
Yeah.
And it was at that moment that I knew the root of what I needed was found in Islam. The root of what I needed was found in my soul.
Yeah.
And that's when I started looking internal more than external for the help or the validation that was required.
You now studied psychology, right?
Psychological counseling. It's a
Psycholo-
BA in psychological counseling. I haven't gone on to the further part where I am a psychologist, no, but I do have the base knowledge of the mindset,
Yeah.
which is why I joined that to motivation, so that we could align the mind, the body, the heart, the soul, and
Yeah.
everything comes into one. But that, of course, only came later in my life. I actually only got my degree at 41 years old.
Okay.
So I did everything upside down in
Yeah.
my life, where I started the business first and then I went on to
Yeah.
study and get my degree later. There's never just a checklist.
Yes, of
So
course.
it's never just, you need to finish your matric, then get the degree, then
Yeah.
get married, have children, buy a house, the typical shopping list
Yeah.
that everyone has. Everyone's path is different. And yet it's so beautiful when you can zoom out from it and look at your path and say to yourself, wait a minute, actually, my path was written like this because now I understand why I went through what I went through.
Yeah.
It was Steve Jobs who said it so brilliantly. He said, you can't connect the dots going forward. You can only connect it
back.
going back.
Yeah.
And when you connect the dots going back, you can see how every dot has brought you to this exact moment. You just have to have faith that this dot will take you to the next.
Yeah, it fits in so well with our religion about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best of planners.
Definitely. I mean, Steve Jobs described Taqdeer to us
Yes.
in that sentence.
Exactly that. And what was the reason for you looking at psychology? Like, what was the reason?
So over the years, like I said, 40 years before I got to that point, over the years, all the difficulties that I had been through and the mindset that was required to go through those years, I needed to understand why.
Yeah.
And of course, there are books out there. There's studies that have been done for years, hundreds of years on human mindset. And I needed to understand, why did I react in certain ways? Why did I respond in certain ways? So let me take you back to before I became a personal trainer.
Okay.
It was around 2003. And I was training and I loved the gym because if anything saved me from the streets and drugs after the divorce of my parents, it was the gym.
Okay.
Definitely. And I loved it. And I used to enjoy it every single day. But around 2003, there was no internet access in the sense that you could get workouts by a click of a
Yes.
button
Yeah.
or ChatGPT who could write an entire program for you. So you would buy these magazines and look at workouts in there and try it out, and you would read books of Arnold Schwarzenegger and try workouts
Yeah.
from there. And then I said, get a trainer or become a trainer. And I'm the type of person who likes to immerse myself in it directly and not just see it from another person's point of view at that point first. So I decided to become a trainer. And it was a lot cheaper to become a trainer than it was
Yes,
to
I'm
get a
sure.
trainer as well. So I became a trainer and I thought to myself, wow, okay, I'm enjoying this. And
Yeah.
you know, the will of Allah it's so beautiful, the wisdom of Allah, because that became a profession in 2009 and 2010, even though I studied it not to become a profession, and yet it became the profession. The same thing happened with the degree in psychological counseling. In 2019, I went through a divorce, and my mind was completely all over the show. So it was go and get a psychologist or study psychology and understand it from the deep aspect, not just an aspect of this is what you're going through, these are the tools, but rather this is what you're going through, this is the mindset, this is what happens to the mind, this is what happens to the nervous system, and then try to work it out from there. So when I studied it, I actually put myself deep into the situation and I realized, wow, this is the root of the problem. This is where my actual problem lays. And I worked my way up from there.
That's amazing. I think it's great that you actually went into both because you were, in the midst of it. And from there, what would you say was the darkest moment for you?
In my life or
No,
just...
in your life. Yeah.
Oh, there were many dark moments. Let me give you a short timeline.
Yeah.
Of course, the day before my matric exam, my parents got divorced. Was a difficult moment because you're writing the toughest exam of your life. You have all these dreams and aspirations of what you want to do in your life and where you're going to go and all the dreams that we have. And I loved playing football at the time, and my dream was to play professional football as well, but plus study and then retire by the age of 30, with millions in my bank account, like all youngsters have that dream as well. So that threw me off completely. So I ended up following the herd, and I went into computers, something I had no passion for whatsoever. But I studied programming. A few of my friends went down that path, and I went with them because I was lost. My mom was no longer in the home. My dad was there. It just became a very difficult, toxic situation. And there was difficulty all around us. My sister was married already at the time, so she had her life going for her. But my brother and I were just there for each other. Dad was at work. Mom wasn't there. The house was empty. You teenage boys, you don't know where to go and what to do. So we moved on with life, and I went through the studying of computers and that. And then in 2002, my nephew was 1.5 years old at the time. My sister was married. She was happy. And my brother-in-law passes away in a hijacking.
Oh, gosh.
And it just becomes another dark moment on us because we had picked ourselves up from the difficulty of the divorce. Now to go into this where my sister is a widow at a young age with I have a nephew 1.5 years old at the time. So I move out of Azadville and I move in with her to sit with her through her iddat period, help her through this difficult moment. So uproot my entire life where my friends are all in one place and go here. It becomes difficult for me on a personal level, but it's beautiful that I get to share that with my sibling as well and help her through the difficult moment. But 2 weeks after I moved in with her, my best friend passes away in a car accident.
Wow.
And then it's just one thing after another. And you think to yourself, what next? How much more can you endure? Or what have I done wrong? The worst question you could ever ask. What have I done wrong to deserve this? Why me? Why me? Why me? And the victim mentality started setting in. So I thought to myself, I need to run away from this current life. And at a very young age of 21, I got married.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, let me start my life on my own. Maybe this is the best way for me to do it. And I went through it. And of course, it was difficult because at that point in time, you needed the guidance of parents to show you what a marriage is. But they themselves were going through such a difficult moment where they were divorced, away from their children. Their daughter is a widow. The nephew or their grandson is still growing up. There's a lot happening for them. My father, unfortunately, got involved in the Hansi Cronje scandal at that time as well, which rocked our family again. So we're going through this turmoil where we were once very close-knit, loving family, and all of a sudden everything is just shattered and all over the show. And each one of us then becomes just an individual without a family structure. So I go into this marriage not understanding. I was 21 years old at the time. So not understanding the next individual because I couldn't understand myself at the same time. But I went through and I had 3 beautiful children. There were difficult moments. There were good moments as well. The children were amazing. That was a wonderful part of my life because it filled a void in my life that I had been missing. But if I could give anyone any piece of advice, don't ever let your children fill the void in your life, because that void will be opened up again when the children have their own life. So always make your children a part of your life, but you fill the void yourself, and watch how you as a whole individual heal yourself so that your children never have to heal from you. And that's what I learned along the way with it. And in 2019, I got divorced, and my ex-wife moved with the children to her hometown of Rustenburg, and I was here in Johannesburg. And I thought to myself, you know what, Allah, like, help me through this. Like, I just need time on my own. I need time to clear my mind. I need time to find myself again. And then the wisdom and the beauty of Allah, He put a little thing in the world called COVID, and He shut the entire world down from it. And He put all of us in our homes. And He said, okay, go into your home, sit there, and heal yourself. But you have to do it yourself, because now you're sitting at a situation where my business is down to 0 because the gyms are closed. I'm doing the studying, so I'm trying to understand my mind, but the deeper you study it, the darker it gets. The more you realize you have a shadow side, and the more you realize that you have to embrace that shadow side. So it was in that moment that I think it was the darkest, but yet the most beautiful. Because when you go into the darkness of your adult self, you find your inner child. And when you find your inner child, you can put your arm around that child, and you realize the best parent you could ever be is the parent to your inner child first. Then your other children will appreciate you. But if you do not parent that inner child will be scared and feel anxious your entire life. And this is where that emptiness and that void comes from within you. So when you find that inner child and you hug that inner child and you love that inner child and you make that inner child completely secure, it is at that moment you actually rise up out of the dark side within you and you see the light in your soul. And I think that was the total turning point of myself, of Moetivation, of Mohamed, Cassim, and every aspect of my life.
It sounds like the launch of it all.
Yes.
But for men, it's not usual to face that part, to look at the inner child, to do the work. What would you say was different about you, or what would you say that men should do in that in that circumstance?
I don't think there was anything different about me. I think we all have difficult moments. I think none of us are that special that it makes us very different. It's just how we look at it and how we embrace it. It's not our situation that defines us. It's the reaction to our situation that defines us. What's difficult for men, for boys, is that from a very young age, we've been told, don't cry. Big boys don't cry. So when you were a child, you weren't even allowed to be a child. So how then do you embrace your inner child when you are an adult, when you don't even know that he exists within you? So the day you realize that inner child exists within you is the day the change actually happens. The day you can drop the ego and say, I actually am afraid. I am hurting. You might not have to voice it to the world, but just voice it to yourself. And then go within yourself and look there and grab your child and say to him, now we will no longer be afraid. I will be the adult that you required to love you when you were younger. Because you might not have had it. And it's so easy to go in our past and blame everyone. I can sit here and play victim and tell you, this happened to me and therefore I cannot do. Where is it going to get me in my life if I play victim? In Kung Fu Panda, there's that beautiful saying that yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why they call it the present. And I often believe that. I often believe that so many of us glorify our past, or we are traumatized by our past, and we're so anxious and afraid of our future that we forget to live in this beautiful moment called the present. And this is all we have. The past is just memories and the future does not exist. all we have is this moment. So if you're not going to embrace yourself or your inner child and have fun within yourself, how can you expect anyone else to have fun around you?
Yeah. And do you always, or do you have to constantly work on the discipline of being motivated, or does it come naturally to you?
You're going to laugh at this, but motivation is rubbish.
Okay.
So motivation is required every single day. But a little bit of motivation every single day will give you consistency.
Okay.
And a little bit of consistency every single week will give you discipline. And a little bit of discipline every single month will create habits. And a little bit of habits every single year will give you your character. And it is the character of the individual that defines us. So it's all of those little things put together over a long period of time that defines you as a character, because then when you are put into your grave, someone will look at that grave and say, I am who I am because of that individual over there, because of the character of that individual over there, because of what that person has left within me, because that's all we can leave in this world is our character. Everything else will be disposed of, used, or fought about. But your character, that is what people speak about you when you leave this world. So that is the most important thing. But if character is the end goal, then motivation is the start of it. And in between that, we've got consistency and discipline and habits that will create it.
And talking of leaving this world, what kind of a legacy would you want to leave for the world?
So there's this question that was asked by Dr. Miles Monroe, and he asked, what is the richest place in the world? And the answer to that is the graveyard is the richest place in the world. Because in the graveyard are books that were never written, businesses that were never started, podcasts that were never hosted, knowledge that was never shared. And I often believe that most of us are too afraid to share it with the world based on that statement, what would people say? But the reality is people are so consumed within their own lives that if they were to say something, it is only out of their own insecurities. So what I would love to leave is every last bit of knowledge, every word that I could possibly do, every life that I could possibly touch, every human being that I could possibly help, so that I do not make the grave any richer, but I enrich myself within the grave by what I've left behind in this world.
That's amazing. Same thing with the gym. You have to build endurance. How do you build that with someone or with the men? I know these days there's that lack of commitment and that lack of discipline. How do you encourage something like that?
Life encourages it for you, because resistance creates resilience, right? So life will encourage it for you. Life will put you through difficult moments. Life will put the weight on you, make it heavier, and then you've just got to get stronger to push it. Or you can let that weight crush you and say, I can't do it, and you won't be able to move at all. The choice is yours. So you as an individual have to take it upon yourself to say, this is a difficult moment, and in this moment, I'm willing to grow. The Quran says it beautifully. With difficulty comes ease. Not after difficulty comes ease, before difficulty comes ease, with ease comes ease. No. With difficulty comes ease. Because in that difficulty, if we can look for the beauty of what it is teaching us, this is where the magic actually happens. We can ask for a room full of blessings from Allah. And we all do. We all want everything. And then sometimes you wonder, I asked for this and the total opposite happened. Why did this happen to me? Because the reality is we're asking for a room full of blessings, but our vessel is the size of a cup. And Allah cannot fit all of that into that cup. So instead, He has to break you and mold you into a bigger vessel. And then break you more and mold you into a bigger vessel until you become the size of the room of the blessings that you are asking for, and then He will give you all of the blessings you are asking for. So do not look at the difficult moment as this is the worst moment of my life. Rather look for it as an opportunity to be rewarded for patience, because that's where the help of Allah will come, is with those who are patient. It's with those who are grateful for what Allah has given him. It's for those who do not question His wisdom. So sit back and enjoy. You have this one life. Why should we make it difficult by being anxious about a future that does not exist as yet, or a past that has completely passed us and we have not learned a single thing from it? Enjoy the beauty of where you are right now. Smile through it. Smile. It's sunnah to smile. Smile through it. Embrace the difficulty. Yes, grieve when you're supposed to grieve, but grieve with a beautiful patience. For Sabrun Jamil, grieve with a beautiful patience. And in that, you will enjoy your own life because you will be at peace, you will be content, and you will enjoy what's happening around you.
And I think that takes work, right? To actually live with that beautiful patience.
It does take a lot of work, but it takes a lot of letting go.
Yeah.
The world's going to harm you. The world's going to hurt you. It's not a world of justice. We just look across the globe and we look at what's happening in Palestine. It's not a world of justice. And nowhere did Allah promise us that this was going to be a world of justice. Justice will be served on the day of Qiyamah. He has given human beings free will to act how they want to act. And that is what we will be judged on, is our free will to do what we did. Now, if you have free will to act how you want to act, why act in a negative way?
Yeah.
Why not just act in a positive way? Be optimistic, because all Allah is watching is your reaction. The outcome is already written. Your rosy is already written. Your entire pathway till the end is already written. All you need to do is react in a beautiful way. Life becomes simple when you see through that. The problem is we are always making mountains out of molehills. But instead, when we see a problem that actually is a mountain, can we not turn it into a molehill and say it's not as big as we actually think it is? Because this world is so short. I mean, our life is passing by so quickly. We're nearing the end of the year already. It's just so short. Why must we stress about it? Why do we need to put our bodies through these difficult moments when instead we just look and say, wow, I'm here. It's a miracle that I'm here. Over 12 generations, it's taken 4,000 and somewhat people to make me. So I am a miracle. And I am actually that important, because a lot of people feel they are not important. I actually am that important, because when Allah created the pen and He was writing everyone's taqdeers down, He took it upon Himself to write my taqdeer down. And my name is written in that book. And my entire life is written there. If an author were to dedicate a page to me in his book, I'd be grateful for that, definitely. Allah has dedicated a page to you in the book of taqdeer, which means you are important and you have a massive role to play. So play that role, find yourself, find your purpose, and go out there and do it to the best of your ability.
And now recently you've been training the boys with, what's the initiative called?
The Youth Mentorship Program.
The Youth Mentorship. And what about the boys?
The What About the Boys program is an underprivileged program that we do at schools as well.
So you're training them to find their place and their purpose, right?
I'm training them to see the world not just positively, but with less negative thoughts. So it's very difficult to only think positive. But if we can just start with thinking less negative, it might be the starting point of seeing things in an optimistic way. Because there's that question, that age-old question, is the glass half full or the glass half empty? How would you see it?
Half full.
Half full. So some people see it half full, some see it half empty. I look at it from a very different perspective, is that half the glass has water and the other half has air. And sometimes you need a sip of water and sometimes you just need to breathe. But either way, it will benefit you. So there's benefit in everything. We just need to choose to see it. We just need to open up our eyes and say, it's okay that I've been put into this situation. What can I learn from it? You ask anyone who's gymming and training to get bigger, he wants to go heavier. He wants to make it more difficult because he wants more muscle. And if you want more muscle, you have to create more resistance. If you want to get stronger in life, then understand that most people will search for what is easy, but the giants will search for a challenge. And if you want to be that giant in life, go out and search for the challenge. And if the challenge comes to you, even if you weren't looking for it, embrace it. Learn from it. See it in an optimistic way.
Earlier, we spoke about building young boys to become good men. Tell us a little bit about that. How do you do that?
The boys currently don't know their place in this world. Girls are excelling, women are excelling. Feminism in its own way has shown women their power. So it has had a great impact. Of course, there are many negatives to it as well. Like anything that is excessive, there are always negatives to it. But what has happened is the boys feel that they no longer have a place in this world. 60% of university entrances are for females now. 60%, which means the working world 3 or 4 years from now is going to be filled with 60% more women than men. So boys feel we can't compete with them. The girls are excelling at school. They are getting straight A's. And the boys are barely passing. So they feel that they are totally mediocre or completely useless. What happens is one of two things. Either men belittle themselves to make women feel more powerful, or men belittle women to make themselves feel more powerful. And both are completely wrong. Men and women are equal. Women have their most amazing qualities and unbelievable strengths that men cannot even think of competing with. And men have their place that they need to do. But we need to understand as men and women that if we work together, this is where the world can actually change. So I want these boys to see their place, what they need to do, how they need to do it, and do it in a very beautiful way where it is not toxic, but rather it is empowering for them. And in that way, they empower their women as well. So together, they will be able to create a household that is unbreakable. And if your household works, and if you heal as a man, and then you heal your house, you heal the neighborhood. And if you heal the neighborhood, you heal the community. And if you heal the community, you heal society. And if you heal society, you can change the whole world. But it starts with you as a boy, as a man within that home, to take responsibility for who you are. You need to be the stable one. A woman is like the ocean, and her waves are going to be crashing at sometimes, and the tide is going to be high and the tide is going to be low. It's extremely difficult. But a man has to be like the harbor wall, where he's constant and he stays there. And sometimes he can take the crash, and sometimes he has to take the waves, but he's unwavering in his ability to stay there. He is still, no matter what happens, and the waves are flowing over him. But eventually, being the wall that he is, he stills the water. And when he stills the water, the woman is calm as well. But you need each other, because if he wasn't there, the water would overflow into everything and cause damage. And if he breaks and shatters, the wall will no longer be there. So together they need to work. But as a man, if there's one thing I teach the boys that they need to realize in life, is men need to be constant, no matter what. We have to find our consistency and be constant in everything that we do, because you cannot have two individuals that are completely all over the show with their emotions, and you're just going to cause chaos in that household. A woman, unfortunately, does not have control over that. Her hormones take over. So let the woman be who she is. But as a man, just sit back in moments, understand, is she talking from a place of emotion or a place of logic? And when she's talking from a place of logic, have the good conversation. But when she's talking from a place of emotion, be the wall that just takes the waves. And it's okay to do that. But it starts with dropping your ego.
And so that ties in with your Heartset, mindset, soulset.
Heartset, mindset, soulset. And why it's so important that I put it like that is a lot of the world today has spoken about the mind. Still your mind, calm your mind, be in control of your mind, meditate, breathe, do all of this. Yet the Quran only speaks about the heart. And the importance of the heart. And when we were in our mother's wombs, and for any woman who's been for a sauna, when that little dot is there, so the woman knows she's pregnant, and there's this little dot there, all you can hear is the heartbeat. So not a single part of the body was formed, but the heart was still beating. And that's the same heart that's beating in our chests today. So how important is the heart? It's not a vessel that just pumps blood. Yes, there's a scientific reason, scientific meaning to the heart and what it actually does. But we know it goes beyond that. We know the softening of the heart is where the beauty lies within the individual. I often ask the question to many people, do you want a heart of a diamond? And everyone's answer is, yes, definitely. I want a heart of a diamond. I want it, it's beautiful. And I say to them, the diamond is the hardest rock in the world, and nothing can ever penetrate that diamond. And anything that goes on it completely gets washed off. And the diamond is only valuable to the owner itself. And it might shine to the whole world, and the whole world might look at it as someone who's amazing and shining and beautiful. But the reality is that heart is so hard that nothing happens within that person. But rather have a heart of fertile land which absorbs everything that is being said to you, which takes it as if it's rainwater and allows the fruits to come out of that tree that you can benefit everyone around you. When you look at a fertile land, you never see it as beautiful. Yet when you're eating the fruit from a fertile land, all of a sudden it's the most beautiful thing you've ever had. Can the diamond actually give you that? No. So maybe our perception needs to change, because there's a myth in normality. What might be normal now is not the normality that we as human beings were put here for. We were put here to have a soft heart. We were put here to benefit others. We were put here to give fruits so that everybody can eat from what we have given them and they can benefit from us. This is the reason we were put here. We were not put here to be born and then just die without any purpose. What use is that?
And your life's philosophy, or a quote that you live by?
A quote that I love by is a very philosophical quote. It's a philosopher many years ago named Cooley, and he said, "I'm not what I think I am. I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am." So it's a perception in a perception, and let me explain it to you. And most people live by this, which is why we do not actually go out there and find our true self. So I'm not what I think I am. So I know what I am, but I won't show that to the world. I'm not what you think I am. So you have a perception of me, but how can I know what you think about me? So I can't actually be what you think I am. So what I become is, I am what I think that you think I am. So I become what I'm thinking you thinking about me. So all of a sudden, I make this assumption that this is what this individual thinks about me. Therefore, I need to act in a certain way. And we put up so many masks that we forget who we are. And then we ask ourselves, why are we empty on the inside? Because we forgot who we are. So sometimes just stop pretending, stop acting, and just be. Find happiness and let that be your default mode. Find that contentment more than happiness and let that be your default mode. Be who you truly are. Yes, there are some times where you need to put a mask up. There are some times where you have to put a wall up or a boundary up. But that doesn't mean that you forgot who you are. Stop thinking what others think about you and using that as your default mode. Because first of all, I can guarantee you are wrong what they think about you. There is no way that you can read their mind. And number two, you're sitting there trying to pretend to be something that you're assuming about yourself. And maybe in that, we'll be able to know who we are. Because if we think that an individual thinks something about us, that they are judging us, maybe that's what we judge in other people. Maybe that's our flaw. Maybe that's where we need to fix ourselves up. That judgment of others, that judgment of what we see in other people or what we think others see in us is actually our judgment of what we think about other people. And that stems down to the ego again. So drop the ego and let it go completely.
Because that causes all the chaos, all that miscommunication.
Exactly.
And are you truly who you are even behind closed doors? Or is there something, or is there a different person that you are behind closed doors?
I try to be. My wife might disagree with me, but I do try to be who I actually am. Behind closed doors, I try to be as happy and as positive as possible and always giving motivational advice. I love by what I do and I love it. I completely love it. But there are moments, of course, I am a human being, where I do have my low moments. And I do, and it's not that I'm going to showcase that to the world, but I want everyone to know I do have low moments. We all do. I do have negative thoughts, but I said less negative thoughts, not only positive thoughts. I do have negative thoughts. I do have moods. Things do bring me down. But it's in those moments where you actually learn yourself. And it's in those moments where you say to yourself, why did I respond this way? Okay, it was to protect myself. Okay, no problem. You protected yourself. Well done. Why did I respond this way? Because my ego took over. No, change that. You work on that. You need to remove that from your life. If your ego is talking, if it's protection, one thing. But if your ego is talking because your ego is being bruised, and that would be a flaw of mine and many people, where someone says something critical to you and your ego gets bruised, all of a sudden the heart rate goes up and you want to respond and you want to defend yourself. But in defending yourself, you're showing bigger weaknesses. And in defending yourself, if you just have to listen, there's a reason your ears are so close to your mouth is when the words come out of your mouth, you're the first person to hear it. So if you hear what you have to say and you truly understand it, that's when you'll evolve. And you have to evolve. I really truly believe, like my motto in life is I want to be embarrassed of the person I was a year ago. Mind, body, and soul. I want to be embarrassed of the person I was. I love who I am today. But next year, this time, I want to look back and say, I can't believe you were that. Your mindset was like that. It has to evolve. It has to evolve. If we're not going to evolve, your today will mirror your yesterday and your tomorrow will mirror your today. We're going to get nowhere in life.
There's no growth.
There's no growth at all.
And to close off today, what transformational words of wisdom would you leave us with?
Heal yourself so that no one else has to heal from you. It starts with you as an individual, and as we discussed through this entire podcast, it's all about you. Take responsibility for your actions. Take responsibility for your moods. Take responsibility for your low down moments or your moments of anger where you screaming at you. Take responsibility for it. It is not everyone else's responsibility to change you. It's your responsibility. It is so difficult to change yourself. What makes you think that you can change someone else? So work on yourself. Take all that energy that you are consuming and using, worrying about what people think about you, worried about how to act in front of people, worrying about all of that. Take that energy, internalize it, use it inside of you and say to yourself, okay, wait a minute, I'm going to use this energy to springboard me to become the best individual possible, to be the best version of myself, because you were not put here for no reason whatsoever. You were put here for a particular reason, and you go out there and you find it. And even if it's just by helping one individual through the words, through your actions, through your character, I promise you it will be worth it at the end. And as we said earlier, it will be worth it because when everyone is standing around your grave, they will say, I am who I am because of that individual over there. Because the reality is, we had no control of who was there in the birth room when we were born. But we do have control of those who will be there at our janazah. So make sure that you fill that janazah room up with the character that you are. And leave that legacy behind, because that legacy outweighs money, it outweighs property, it outweighs anything else. The character of the individual, when the individual is put into the grave, it's not going to be written the degree, it's not going to be written any of that on your board. It'll be written your name, the day, the year you were born, and the year you passed away. In between that is a dash. And this is your dash. So make this dash count. Because when everyone is standing there, they will forget you instantly. But there will be moments that they would be reminded by your character. Nothing else, just your character. And then in those moments, they will make dua for you. And we will all need that dua when we get to that point. So let us go out there and just be beautiful to the world. Be loving to the world. Be kind to the world. Everyone's going through a difficult moment. But share a helping hand and give it to them and show the world your heart, not just your mind, not just your words, but truly take out your heart and show it to the world.
That's absolutely beautiful advice. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me. It was a pleasure having you here, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you for having me here, and it was definitely a pleasure and a wonderful interview. Great questions as well, and inshallah it could help the audience if they can just take one thing and add it to a stitch to the dress of their life. Maybe that stitch could be holding that dress together.
Inshallah.
Ameen.
Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.